Welcome to the Rotary Club of Bearden. Let me ask you to silence all your electronics. I think we said last week beepers. Does anybody have a beeper anymore? Well, whatever you have that may beep or ring or talk or anything, silence them please. I'm filling in for Tom. He's out of town today. But let's go ahead and kick our meeting off the way we ordinarily do with Bob Ely, and to do the honors of leading song and pledge.
My country is of the sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's ride. From every mountain side, let freedom ring. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bob. Invocation, Herc.
Yes, sir. Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties, for each day's problems. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. Amen.
Thanks, Herc. Be seated. Rogers, come on down. Rogers is our guest and visitors today.
Hey, did anybody see the email that was sent out by our club?
Rogers.
Did anybody see the email that Leo sent me about my favorite coach who was arrested for animal cruelty? He was.
He was what?
Arrested for animal cruelty.
Oh my goodness.
He beat up 83 different dogs. Bulldogs.
Oh,
Oh, and I brought my favorite Georgia graduate with us today.
Do you have your list of guests and visitors? Because I don't have it.
He had humor.
We have to wait on humor. Turner has your humor today. Oh no, you're a shudder. All right, Rogers.
Today we have with us a guest of Leon Knight. Leon, will you introduce your guest?
Yeah, Steve Johnson. There he is.
Hey,
Stan's the executive director over at Seed, and he's helping a lot of young people find really good jobs and getting them on paths that's going to be making successful people in the community and around the world. Thanks, Stan.
Thank you, guys.
Rogers, where are you? Could you introduce your visitor? Oh! I would like to introduce my favorite veterinarian, Dr. Denise Frazier, a prospective member of our club. Dr. Frazier? Is there anyone who didn't sign in that would like to introduce their visitor? Great.
All right. Thank you, Rogers. And now get ready for the humor. Turner, it's all yours. It's all yours.
Hey, Stan, Turner Howard again. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. Welcome. I saw a picture in the paper recently with Bob Ely. What's going on with that pretty girl there?
And you.
Man, what do you think about that? It's okay? All right, well, whatever. Good to be back. I feel like I've been gone forever. And what is this thing here in front of me? What is that? Is that a drone?
That's a drone. You gotta watch it.
You know, when Yogi Berra died, I did some research on him. What an amazing guy. He certainly was not into performance-enhancing drugs. you looked at him, it's like, whoa, that guy's an athlete, probably the greatest catcher of all time, maybe Johnny Bench compares. But he didn't look like an athlete, and yet he's one of the greatest baseball players of all time. But even more so, he's remembered for his quips. And so I thought I might, in remembrance of the late, great Yogi Berra, and most of you guys are not old enough to remember the days when the Yankees were unassailable. They were unbelievable. Of course, he was one of their star players with Mantle and Mantis and all those guys. Maris. Who corrected me? Who corrected me? Yeah, I would have figured you knew Park.
Okay, I know, Bill Parker.
All right. On his approach to at-bats, you can't think and hit at the same time. On selecting a restaurant, nobody goes there anymore, it's too crowded. On economics, a nickel ain't worth a dime anymore. Hold on, it gets better. On the 1973 Mets, you remember they were terrible. We were overwhelming underdogs. On how events sometimes seem to repeat themselves, it's deja vu all over again. Perhaps his most famous quote. You know, he only had he didn't have a high school education, so everybody thought he was dumb. But this is brilliance. On baseball attendance, if people don't come to the ballpark, how are you going to stop them? See, that's even above your level. You can't. On a slipping batting average, slump? I ain't in no slump. I just ain't hitting. On travel directions, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. On pregame rest, I usually take a 2-hour nap from 1 to 4. There you go. On battling the shadows in left field at Yankee Stadium, it gets late early out there. And I'm almost through. Hold on. On fan mail, never answer an anonymous letter. On being told he looked cool, you don't look so hot yourself. On being asked what time it was, you mean now? Now wait a minute, you got to remember, these are quick answers back. He didn't have time to think about these. So, on being asked what time it was, you mean now? On being given a day in his honor, thank you for making this day necessary. On a spring training drill, pair off in threes. On his approach to playing baseball, baseball is 90% mental, the other half is physical. On death, always go to other people's funerals, otherwise they won't go to yours. On learning, you can observe a lot by watching. On his team's diminishing pennant chances, it ain't over till it's over. That's another famous one. And one more, on the fractured syntax attributed to him, I really didn't say anything I said. At least it was clean.
Yeah.
Thank you, Turner. It was clean. Thank you, Turner. Okay, some announcements. Let's start with Pond Gap readers. Who read today? Gary Riccardi, Janice Mitchell, and Rosa read today. There is a list that's passed around. Rosa has it in the back. Good, it's in the far back. Don't let it sit at your table. Keep it moving. All right, and mobile meals. Janice.
And the handsome gentleman sitting beside me, Stuart Anderson, delivered mobile meals today. And next week, Mike Holland will be delivering mobile meals.
Okay, thank you. And dictionaries. Todd, what's an update?
The dictionary should be in all the schools, so if you signed up, you should have gotten an email this week from Brad Bunch showing the list of what schools you have signed up for. Please call the schools, preferably next week, and make sure that they have the dictionaries, get a head count from them, and try and make sure that you have enough dictionaries before you get out there. Also, you need to, you're not playing fair, Alex. That's all right.
Everyone saw his wedding picture on Facebook, didn't they?
Well, you'll have to tell the rest of us about that later. This part of the room didn't get that.
We do not have enough dictionaries to give all the teachers dictionaries this year. So if you do get in a classroom and the teacher, it's a new teacher, they don't have one, go ahead and give them one. But this is the second largest group of third graders that the Knox County schools have ever had. So it really stretched our budget to get one for each student, so we did not buy them for teachers. So. the month of October. That's really pushing it, but definitely by middle of November. Because they're already 6 weeks into school, I guess, and if we procrastinate, they won't get started until next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for leading that, along with Brad. Okay, let's go ahead and get on with our program. We have an excellent program today. Ashley, I think you're going to introduce our speaker.
Glasses on here. Well, we're real fortunate. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Terry Douglas. Dr. Douglas hails from Jackson, Tennessee. He came to Knoxville and he earned a BS, MS, PhD degrees in electrical engineering from UT. After graduating with all those degrees from UT, he went to work in 1968 through 1983. Dr. Douglas was employed at Ortec as a design engineer, and he worked his way up to CEO there in his last 3 years. And the company that you all probably know him best from is CTI. Dr. Douglas was the founder, chairman of the board of CTI, a public company that specialized in the development, production, and distribution of products and services for the medical diagnostic imaging market from 1983 to 2005 when it was acquired by Siemens. So you think he would probably stop there, but he doesn't. Dr. Douglas is currently leading Provision Healthcare and a bunch of other entities that he's going to tell us about here today. But if you notice in all of his entity names, it's vision at the end. So I think there's a theme here. Dr. Douglas is a visionary. He also is a man with a mission. He's mission focused and vision focused. And on a personal note, he has several grandsons. I know one that he was telling about plays the drum, and fortunately, I get to coach one of his sons in shooting sports, and he's quite the clay target shooter, Dr. Douglas.
Thank you for that kind introduction, and it's a pleasure really for me to be here. I used to have a uniform that spelled Rotary across the front of it, and I had a hat with an R on it. I bet none of you ever had a uniform like that. But in 1950, I started playing Little League Baseball when I was 8 years old, and played for the Rotary Club for 5 years. And every year, the Rotary Club got to, of course, we won the championship every year, but we got to go to the Rotary Club for lunch. So this is not new to me at all. So, talking about the Yankees and the Yogi Berra, our coach was a guy named Dunk DeMundrum. I can remember it now. Had a big influence on my life, but he loved the Yankees. And so I'll tell you a secret. He gave us all nicknames based on Yankee players, and my nickname was Twinkle Toes. There was a player called Twinkle Toes Seltzer who played center field like I did, and was fast, kind of like I was. So he thought that would be a good name for me. But I had to live that down all the way through my junior high and high school years until I finally got to come up here to go to the university. And you're probably the first ones to hear that up in Knoxville. So just keep it to yourself if you don't mind. I have been blessed in lots of ways. One with a great family. I have 3 kids and 12 grandchildren. I had to count. 12 grandchildren. They all live within 5 miles of us, and so it's a wonderful thing to be here. But I've also been blessed in my career to be involved with some very interesting technology that I think can and has been useful to help in terms of diagnosis and now treating health care. So I was asked to tell a little bit about, I like to talk about what I'm doing now, not like what I used to do. But I was asked to talk about CTI a little bit, so I'll talk a little bit about that. But I'll first bore you with our org chart. But the purpose of this org chart is to show you that there really are multiple companies, multiple divisions really, as a part of Provision Healthcare. There are 5 divisions. Each one of them has its own president, and is responsible for its own divisions. One of the things I've learned in my career is just getting good leaders and that are as attached to the vision as I might be, and give them the responsibility to do certain things and then let them go. And that's really the way I operate. So each of these divisions has its own division president and its own division leader, and I'm just there like leading an orchestra or something, I guess. So, and someone asked me what my primary responsibility was. It's to primarily raise money for these ideas that are come up by these brilliant people. So that's really what I do. So I get all the credit, you know. I also get all the blame, but I don't deserve all the credit. And this is everything that I've done has always been about a team thing. It's always been about good people, surrounding yourselves with good people, and moving from there. So I just wanted to show you that CTI story really quickly. This was a technology that I built the first prototype. Our team, I should say, built the first prototype in 1973. It came out of work that I had done in the PhD area for positron emitters, but that was really done for nuclear structure physics. But we came up with an application of how this might be used in cancer care, and PET has become the primary diagnostic tool for cancer. And it does a very unique thing in that it not only localizes where cancer might occur, like CT does, but it also identifies what the metastasis has been, or where the tumor is actually active. This is a picture that kind of describes that. And I won't try to teach you all of this, but the result of that was that the company grew dramatically. Finally, after we got through the FDA issue and getting the Medicare approval, you can see that the company really grew dramatically. Right now, with the new product that we're developing, we're in the same boat, getting FDA approval and getting Medicare reimbursement. Not for PET, not Medicare reimbursement for proton therapy. I get my technologies mixed up. But for commercial carriers, we do have Medicare reimbursement for proton therapy. We just don't have broad coverage for proton therapy for commercial carriers, and that's the thing that we're having to deal with. So we grew dramatically. We sold the company to Siemens in 2005, and that's when I started this next thing that we're doing. CTI, there's been over 2,000 PET scanners that were delivered out of CTI, out of this factory here, out off the Parkway, and over 200 cyclotrons. And total market is about 3,000 PET scanners, doing about 2,000 studies a year. So about 6 million patients a year get a PET scan these days. And in 30% of the times, it changes the therapy that a patient would have. So it's an important tool in diagnosis and therapy management for cancer. So let me talk about, that's the past. It's great, but let me talk about proton therapy a little bit. And I'm going to try to get through this in 20 minutes like I'm supposed to, so that's kind of why I'm hurrying, and so that you can have time for questions. Basically, why does protons work better than X-rays? The reason is that protons stop. They have this unique characteristic that when they go into the body, they deposit their ionizing radiation, and nothing passes through. X-rays, as you know from your X-ray, goes into the body, deposits radiation, does its thing with the tumor, but also goes outside of goes through the other side of the body. So therefore, as you can see in this picture, the top picture is irradiating the brain and spinal column with protons, and you see there's no radiation, no color area for healthy organs that are outside the spinal column, and that's not good for excess radiation for healthy tissue. It's never good. So that's just one example. Here's a second example I give you. This is a breast cancer patient with full breast radiation. And as you can see with protons, the red area is where you really want to, is what you really want to irradiate. And you can see there's very little radiation into the lungs and none into the heart. But if you look at conventional X-ray therapy, you can see both radiation in the lungs and the heart. So that's the real benefit of proton therapy. You irradiate the tumor, and you don't irradiate healthy tissue. And it's all the benefits are related totally to that. And the result of irradiation of healthy tissue is collateral damage to those tissues, secondary cancer, and side effects that you really don't want to have. I won't go into the details of all that, but if you can go to our website, you can look up. If you just look up Google proton therapy, you'll get more information than you'd ever want to know from our site or from some other sites. As you can see, it's a broad range of what proton therapy treats. Mostly anything that's a solid tumor, proton therapy would have a benefit of treating. What is the market for this? And there are 1.6 million people who are diagnosed with cancer each year in the United States. About 2/3 of those, about 60% of those, receive some form of radiation therapy. And it's been determined that at least 1/3 of those that are receiving radiation therapy also would be candidates for proton therapy. So there's about 320,000 patients, I think it's more than that, but 320,000 patients per year in the U.S. that are candidates for proton therapy. Right now, there are only 14 centers that can only treat 14,000 patients a year. So that means knowing that there's one treatment room can do 300 patients a year, because there's multiple treatments associated with it. There are 1,000 more treatment rooms are needed just in the USA. Right now, there are only about 50 rooms. If you look at China, I've been to China 6 times in the last 7 months, and the reason is that the need and the opportunity in China is even worse than it is here in the U.S. and far worse, because our 5-year survival rate for cancer is about 68%. In China, it's about 31%. And for lung cancer, only 1 out of 6 people survive with lung cancer in China. So it's really a tremendous need there and a tremendous opportunity. As you know, the economy is booming in China, or has been until recently. There's a middle class developing that wants better health care. The government realizes that they can't really provide it, so there's a lot of interest in privatizing health care in China, and so there's a lot of opportunity. And we were drawn into that. We didn't really ask for it again, and just another thing that we were drawn into because of the capability that we have on our side. Let me talk a little bit now about that's the technology and the need, a little bit about what we have. We are more than proton therapy. We have the Provision Healthcare Center at Dial Springs, we call it. It's out off of Middlebrook Pike, near Weisgarber Road, near the post office, if you haven't been there. It's a nice place to see. A lot of people take graduation pictures and wedding pictures and things there because we were fortunate enough to be able to have a beautiful site to locate where we were located. But we have a full comprehensive cancer center. We provide not only proton therapy, as I mentioned, but conventional radiation therapy, chemotherapy. We have Knoxville Comprehensive Breast Center there, which a lot of you women know here. We have a large diagnostic imaging facility, provide radiology. Health and Wellness Center, we're focused a lot on that. We do physical therapy, and we have primary care services as well. Some of you might know across the street from us, Tanoa is going to locate one of their hospitals, relocate one of their hospitals. So we will have a full healthcare capability with both with an acute care hospital and a fully functional outpatient center as well. So that's when I left CTI. That's what the vision was to really create a comprehensive world-class healthcare center that was focused on cancer, because I was with PET, obviously I was associated with a lot of cancer care, and this was just a real interest to me. And proton therapy is the thing that really, we started doing that about 5.5 years ago. But because we saw that that would make us truly world-class. This is what some of the campus looks like: the Wellness Center, Cancer Center, Breast Center, Imaging Center. We try to be totally patient-focused. I'm going to show you a video here, but we've also connected with Scott Hamilton, as some of you may know. Scott Hamilton is Olympic gold medalist, figure skater. He's a 3-time cancer survivor. We helped him create the Scott Hamilton CARES Foundation. CARES stands for Cancer Alliance for Research, Education, and Survivability. And he has partnered with us to put in additional proton centers. He did a TED Talk. Anybody know what TED Talk is? You know, it's kind of interesting. We did a lecture to a bunch of students from UT and asked them how many of them know what TED Talks was, and every one of them raised their hand. We asked them, do you know who Scott Hamilton is? Only 2 of them raised their hand. And I bet if I ask you, do you know who Scott Hamilton is? You know, it's just that shows you the difference in the generation gap. But anyway, Scott Hamilton did a TED Talk in Kansas City a few weeks ago, and I'm going to show you an excerpt from here if this works. So we'll give it a try. The right place here. He's a little better speaker than me.
What's on the horizon? What's next? Well, that's why I'm here right now in this beautiful red circle to tell you about an emerging cancer treatment option that's getting better every single day. It's called
You can't hear it back there?
proton therapy. Now, I was first introduced to proton therapy when I was asked to speak at the University.
We'll start over again, I hope. Is it on back there now?
What's next? That's why I'm here right now in this beautiful red circle to tell you about an emerging cancer treatment option that's getting better every single day. It's called proton therapy. Now, I was first introduced to proton therapy when I was asked to speak at the University of Florida Health Proton Therapy Institute's annual fundraising dinner for their Proton Therapy Center. And my mind was absolutely blown. I mean, this is literally about splitting atoms. They walked me through the facility and I was instantly blown away by the size and the scope of this technology. Through some weird procedure, they excite the atoms and the proton is extracted, put into this gigantic cyclotron, and it spins. It accelerates the proton.
We'll do it again.
What's next? Well, that's why I'm here right now. To tell you about an emerging cancer treatment option that's getting better every single day. It's called proton therapy.
That's pretty good.
Now, I was first introduced to proton therapy when I was asked to speak at the University of Florida Health Proton Therapy Institute's annual fundraising dinner for their Proton Therapy Center. And my mind was absolutely blown. I mean, this is literally about splitting atoms. They brought me to the facility and I was instantly blown away by the size and the scope of this technology. Through some weird procedure, they excite the atoms and the proton is extracted, put into this gigantic cyclotron, and it spins. It accelerates the proton to 2/3 the speed of light, shoots it through a tube, through a delivery system, deposit those protons right into the cancerous tissue, where it delivers its energy, its radiation. It's miraculous stuff. A few years ago, I saw proton therapy again. And again, this time it was in Knoxville, Tennessee. A man named Terry Douglas, who played an integral role in the development and the manufacture of the first PET scan cancer diagnostic tool, was showing me his proton therapy center. And I was instantly taken aback by the size and the scope of his proton therapy center because it was in a fraction of the space from what I saw in Florida. It's mind-boggling how this works. But it's how it works that makes it so important and unique, because it treats the cancer and spares the patient. It's unlike any other cancer treatment. It treats the cancer and spares the patient.
Well, sorry about that, but you can get that whole TED Talk on our website, and it's definitely worth watching. And I think we got a cable problem here. I think that's what it's all about. So we have those problems sometimes too with proton therapy, but not often. Anyway, that would be a worthwhile thing. It's an 18-minute talk, and it'd be worthwhile for you to go and getting the full gist of that. I won't try to do it again. So what is our proton therapy center? What are the results? This is a picture of it. It's up on the hill. You can't miss it. We're right in front of the FBI building. We get watched very well. We started opening in January of 2014. We've treated over 331. We treated 331 patients in 2014. 280 graduated. We call it a graduation. You can see the big bell here. When you graduate, that is after you've done 20 to 40 treatments. That's generally what it is. 5 days a week, 4 to 8 weeks. We have a graduation bell, and we have a graduation ceremony where our staff and our physicians all come and present a few things to our patients. This is our first pediatric patient that you see with the bell, but the patient gets to ring the bell 3 times. And that bell, you can see it's a big bell. You can hear it all over the building. So what it does is those of us that have our office there, live there is right, get to hear that bell. And you know that when that bell rings that somebody's life has been changed. Sorry. And that's what makes it worthwhile. Anyway, I can never say that without, I'm sorry. Because it is, you hear that bell and you just know that somebody's life has been changed. So whatever happens, it makes it all worth it. We'll have 800 passionate graduations this year, do over 22,000 treatments. Right now, we're doing 80 to 85 patients per day. And I hate to even say those numbers because they're all individuals, and we have what we call a culture of care. And the idea is to treat those patients like you would like to be treated, or you would like for your children to be treated. And we hope that we are creating that kind of environment. You can see from the pictures that it is a community thing. You only need to be there about 30 minutes, but we have people that come and stay 2 hours because they've developed friendships with people there, and that's the kind of thing we wanted to present. We have a great physician group, all trained in proton therapy. They're all very patient focused. Every time one of them leaves, you see them hugging their physician, and the physicians are always there on their graduation. So how many times does that happen? But it happens every time in our situation. This is kind of what a picture might look like. This is our staff at the upper right, left-hand corner. And these are some of our patients at the bottom corner. This is our hospitality director there full-time. And this is kind of the way it's like. But I'm going to show you what it's like for a little girl, a little Chinese girl who's being treated for a brain tumor. What is it like for her? And I'm going to show you this. I may have to tell you about it since the sound's not working well. Every morning, she checks in on her own front desk. That's our waiting room. She walks through the lobby. Over to the left is the children's area. She'll go in there and get games. They play the game until it's time for her to go to her room, while they wait for the nurses. Treatment time. Everyone has their own private changing room. Can't see what she's doing. goes into the treatment room. Nurses help her. Most children are anesthetized a little bit, but watch her. Here's how she gets. You do that every day. So this is a little scary right here. So this calms her down. Hold her head steady. She's got a brain tumor. Only takes a few minutes, a couple of minutes. And that's a wrap. That's all it takes. And she's off to practice with her mom. So that's, sorry, same reaction. Okay, let me talk about something more, that's more about hardware. We also have a company that we've created. As we got into this, we realized that this technology could be improved a lot, and the cost could be reduced. It's very expensive. So our focus is on making the technology more accessible to more patients all over the world. So we have created a company called Pronova Solutions to create the next generation proton therapy equipment, which will be lower cost, easier to operate, treat more kinds of cancers, and so that's one of the things we do. This is what the mission is to make a lower cost, smaller, lighter, more energy efficient solution without sacrificing in performance, so that we can make proton therapy more affordable and more accessible to everyone in the world. And this is what our new machine looks like. We're going through right now the FDA 510K approval process, and it will be a really good solution. We have just recently in January, we occupied a building at Pellissippi Place, which is a new technology park that's at the end of the Pellissippi Parkway, and this is that facility, and we're building our first systems there now. It's a 55,000 square foot facility where we can build 10 of these 3-room centers systems per year, and we have land that we can expand to where we can do 50 of these centers per year over time. Our strategy is not only to have a great cancer center and proton center and to create the right product for the market, but to also, since we know how to do that now, since we've developed our own proton center, let's go into the business of putting in proton centers all over the world. And it's because we have these unique complementary capability that nobody else has. And so we're about the task now of putting in provision proton centers. It's all of these things that we have, not only the good system, we have the training, development, partnering, and a network that allows us to really be able to pursue this kind of strategy. This is what the standard provision proton center will look like. The first one will be in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in the process of completing the bond financing for that. We got the certificate of need back in May, and so that'll be our next proton therapy center. But we already have contracts with about eight locations throughout the world to put our proton therapy centers in, including places like Oxford University in England, and the Biopolis in Singapore, Tianjin Cancer Hospital in China, which is building a new 1,000 bed cancer hospital with proton therapy. So we have these relationships that we've developed all over the world, and as much as our resource and our capital will allow us, we'll be developing more and more of these as time goes by. So basically, that's our story, and I've been blessed, been blessed to be a part of two really unique technologies, and for a guy that really likes science and math and healthcare, it's been it's just been an unbelievable experience to be able to be able to do that. And the only thing I can say is that I'm just blessed and thankful. So thank you for listening.
We're running a little bit over because of our wonderful systems here, slowed us down a little bit. But let's just take a few questions for Terry because this was a wonderful presentation. Let's have 3 questions. Terry, you've had your hand up since I got up.
Well, first of all, congratulations on still going strong at 73. I figured your age. That's
A few weeks.
Thank you. If there were a cure for cancer, it seems that, ironically, and somewhat tragically, there's devastation to our economy. Think about that. I mean, just the whole industry.
I don't think you have to worry about the cure for cancer.
I know. One question I have. Why would anybody choose a CT over PET? Why, would insurance companies not pay for the PET scan?
Yeah, the insurance companies only provide limited coverage for PET.
Why is that? I don't understand why they would do
It
that.
is more expensive. It costs, it'd be $1,000 versus like $100.
But it's so much less harmful.
Well, you're talking, I agree. I mean, that's, a lot of my career has been spent working with the insurance companies trying to get proper reimbursement for PET. You may not know it, but I spent the decade of the 90s trying to get FDA approval for PET and Medicare reimbursement. And finally, Senator Frist, who's a physician, became a senator here in 1994, and he helped us get attached to the FDA Modernization Act of 1997. It said by an act of Congress, PET is FDA approved and will be Medicare reimbursed. So it's been a struggle. That's been my biggest struggle, frankly, is the FDA and the federal healthcare system and private.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Haynes, you had your hand up.
He answered my question.
Okay, good. Who else? Larry?
No, Gary.
Gary, that's right, Gary.
How like MD Anderson and Thompson and places like that, how they accepted this, or they're just, I mean, are you a competitor, or?
Well, there's not enough sites to be a competitor, but MD Anderson and all the top 10 cancer centers in the U.S. all have proton therapy. MD Anderson was one of the leaders in it. Mass General was one of the leaders in it. The first was actually in California. But yeah, all the top 10 cancer centers have proton therapy.
One more question, then we need to go. Does somebody else have their hand up? Yes, back there.
Your story is fascinating, Dr. Douglas, and what I'm intrigued with is what I'm looking at here is almost worldwide domination. I mean, this is a phenomenal story. But as a businessman, I would like to know from you what happened in the course of your career where you seem to be wearing many, many hats, but someone has got to you and integrated a business system that's been perfected over a period of time. And I want to know who or was a mentor, who helped you through the process.
Yeah, I worked, as I said, for a company called EG&G Ortec, and they had really great training. I mean, I was a development engineer on the bench, but I always had interest in business and building things, and so they just had some really good training, and they just threw me in to be general manager of something at one time, and just had to learn it myself. I guess I could give credit to the 3-hour course I had in accounting.
That's it, no doubt. That was a UT? That had to be it. Thank you, Dr. Douglas. One more time, just give him a round of applause. Dr. Douglas, before you leave, I'd like for you to sign this book. This is a book that we donate to Pond Gap Library, and it has in the front where you sign. And also, we need for someone to take a picture of Dr. Douglas. Is there any photographer who could do that? Well, Alan is stepping up. All right.
I'm gonna superimpose it with Todd's wedding picture.
Oh, no. Come on up this way, Dr. Becker. We have a plaque here as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got one like this in the Little League too.
Yeah. This is Rotary.
It wasn't this
Yeah.
big. It wasn't this, not this big.
All right, 1, 2, hold on, take a couple.
Okay.
That looks awfully good.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Waiting for the clicky whirry clock. Okay, one more, 1, 2. There you go.
Got it?
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll wait for you. Thank you, Dr. Douglas. Wonderful presentation. Okay, a couple of more announcements. Let's see if there are any. Family of Rotary?
Yes, I've got a
Yes.
husband, and I'll go very, very quickly.
Okay.
I am not Jerry. Okay, two mentions here. Ron Justice's firm, Holder and Justice, is the auditor for Oak Ridge's renovation of the restrooms in Oak Ridge Marina. So he was in the news. David Alley's firm, Alley Auction Company, is handling the auction of the estate of the late Townsend artist Lee Roberson. And that is 227 acres on the auction block with paintings and prints and intellectual rights and databases to his work. So fabulous things going on. In Sunday's paper, we had Steve Chansey's company, Chansey Reynolds, being recognized as number 6 in the top area of heating and air conditioning. And if you haven't picked up your, I know it's not that old, it's Mercury, but if you haven't picked up your paper, and this is the best of Knoxville, and it says Fisher Tire Company has been voted the top auto service. So, that's a
Hey. Thank you, Janice.
And the very last one, at the bottom here, not the picture of the young lady singing To You, great picture there, but we had Macaulay School awards the highest honor to our very own G. Turner Howard III.
Well, we're going Turner. Okay, thank you. Any other announcements from the floor? I have one thing to do, but there are no tickets to give away. But Tom asked that I carry on with the 4-way Rotary Trivia Contest. I know you all look forward to this every week because someone's going to get to win the coin. And the hardest part about this to do is to come up with some trivia that's not so tough that you guys won't get it, but it's tough enough so it's not too easy. So here's one that should be about right. Listen up now. First person that when you raise your hand, I'll call it. First person to raise your hand. In 1926, famous explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, a Rotarian from Winchester, Virginia, carried a Rotary flag to this far-flung destination. Oh, Dr. Douglas, your hand was up first. You cannot participate. Sorry. Bo, you had your hand up. Wait, I'm sorry? Wrong. Who else had their hand up? Turner? North Pole it is.
Come on.
I understand they're different. I'm not sure about that, but I think they're different. Santa Claus is in one, and the other one, I don't know who lives there. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up then. Good meeting. Who's got Peyton today? Who's going to say it from the front table?
I got it.
John.
Yeah.
4-way test.
A 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
True.
second, third,
Build goodwill and better friendships.
and fourth.
Will be beneficial to all concerned.